Someone on the internet asked if a child doesn't know what he or she wants to order at the restaurant, is it the parents' fault for the child not knowing what to order? And the little line beneath the question said that nowadays Gen Zers are having restaurant anxiety in which they don't know what to order at the restaurant because they are just faced with this abundance of options on the menu, so they don't know what to choose anymore. Some people say it's the fault of the time that we live in. We have so many options. Life is too easy. You can choose whatever you want, and this abundance of options is paralyzing. It's not so much the parents' fault anymore. It's just a condition of our time. We just have way too many options, or the illusion of having options, you know? So I don't know how to answer this question. But I do want to say something though. You know, it's I think it's partly the parents' fault as well. Now, don't quote me on this, but I think I've read somewhere in the past, maybe it was a psychological article or something, when I was doing my nursing degree and I was doing researches, and you know, you read stuff. Apparently children who grew up with controlling parents tend to have this arrested development in which they lack direction in life. They're slow to make decisions. They are very indecisive, and they don't have a clear identity. You know, like their identity is not clearly formed. Don't quote me on this. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the general idea is that children who grew up with parents who are always helicoptering above them, always involved in their life, not letting the child make mistakes, not letting the child go out and you know, experience life and make meaning of their own life, you know, make their own meaning of their own life, always imposing their worldviews onto their children and not letting them, you know, have some healthy skepticism and questioning. You know those parents, you know, those sorts of parents who are very overprotective of their kids to the point that it hinders their growth. You know, they're not allowed to go out, they're not allowed to party, they're not allowed to, you know, experiment within limits, of course, experiments, not making decisions that can have lifelong consequences. I'm not talking about that, but they are so involved in their children's life. They are always hovering above them, controlling their every move and watching everything their kids are doing. And I think it's very harmful. I'm no parent myself. I haven't had a child. I'm not married. I'm single. I've never looked after a child before, so I can't claim I know how to raise children. But just reflecting on my own life and looking at the lives of the people around me and my peers, I think I can make this observation that a lot of my friends whom were very close to their parents, as in they have such high regards for their parents, to the point that they fear their parents. I don't know, those people, they are very indecisive, and they're way too people pleasing, you know, like they don't want to upset the masses. They don't want to challenge the status quo. They don't want to put forward their ideas anymore. They are scared of offending others. I was like that because there was a degree of controlling within my household, but it's not that severe, you know, like there's a little bit. There has to be a little bit of disciplining. Don't get me wrong, there has to be a little bit of disciplining, and you have to tell your children what to do sometimes. But yeah, those friends who who always say that, oh, my mama said this, my dad has said this, I can't do this because my mom said no. You know, those people, I have a feeling, because of their overprotective and controlling parents, they become a mess of an adult. They don't know how to make their own decisions. You know, they're always relying on their parents. And within the past couple of days, with my mom being here, I realized just how much of that period of my life I've missed out on, because I was not being rebellious enough, you know. My mom and my sister, they pretty much had an argument every single day for the past couple of days. And I'm not saying that this is healthy, this is not healthy, this is complete on the other side of the spectrum. This is way too much. Yes, there needs to be a degree of healthy disagreements with your parents, because you're your own person now, you're an adult now, you can make your own decisions. But it shouldn't be to this point in which no one respects anyone anymore. Everyone is just arguing, and you know, like people like my sister and my mom, they're just arguing for the sake of arguing without really trying to listen to the other person and trying to come to a common consensus. Everyone was just wanting to yell at each other, wanting to argue just for the sake of it, you know, like they're not really arguing, they're just yelling at each other. But I realized I missed out on that phase of my life, because when I was around 14, 15, all my friends, you know, like we just started high school, and we moved from elementary school into high school. That's when I guess the age of reason starts. That's when you start to look around you and you see, oh, I want to be associated with those guys. I want to be with the cool kids. I want to be with the nerdy kids. You know, you sort of form your own identity in a way. Not really, because you're still developing, but you start to find out who you are and what it means to be in a certain group within society. You know, like you start to form your own identity based on the people around you. And I missed out on that period because I was listening to my mom and my dad, and they were telling me, Khoi, you know, like, you want to be a musician, you know, like they basically, I'm just summarizing it up here. You want to be a musician, you see those rock stars just being drunk, and they're high on drugs, and they make no money. They're filthy scums of the society. They're worthless piece of shit in society, you know, like. Basically, they told me musicians are pieces of shit. You're not going to make money. You're going to be high, drunk, washed out. You're going to be a nobody. So stop pursuing music, you know. And I truly believe them. I truly believe that I can't be a musician and also be a good member of society. So I was listening to them. And back then as well, I wanted to grow my hair out long. I wanted to play guitar. I wanted to, you know, be in a band and put all of my energy towards making music. But then also, my parents had this high expectation of me being the top student in the class as well, excelling in other areas within the academics, you know, like math, physics, biology, chemistry. I did all of that. I did English as well. So yeah, I was juggling between these two identities, I guess. Like on the one hand, I want to please my parents. On the other hand, I want to do my own thing as well. And those things cannot be mutually inclusive, according to my parents. You can't be a musician and be a good member of society. And I truly believe in that. So I missed out on that period because I was listening to my parents. I didn't keep my hair long. I even though it's not illegal to have your hair long as a child, I always had like buzz cuts, because apparently that's socially acceptable in schools. Even though there are kids who had long hair. Anyways, fast forward to this period of my life now. You guys know I have long hair, and I just decided to grow my hair long. But this is not a personal preference, you know. Like I did this, I realized, because I missed out on that period of my life. And now I want to be rebellious because my parents are not here anymore, you know. They're not overly involved in my life anymore. But from the past couple of days, just living in close proximity to my family again, I realized that, hey, this is the period of my life that I missed out on. Because why the hell am I doing all of this as an adult, you know? Yeah. It's not to say that I don't love my parents. I do love my parents dearly. I do respect them, and I'm truly grateful for everything that they've done for me. But the reason why I myself, my sister, and a lot of the Asians, they appear so youthful way into the late 20s and mid 30s, it's because of our close connection to our family, you know? We are almost infant-like in our development. And that's why Asians look so young compared to the other people from other ethnicities, because we're not that independent. We are very close to our family. Our parents are always involved in our lives. Even when my uncles and aunties got married, they still lived with my grandparents in the same house, you know? And they raised their children in the same household with their grandparents in the same house. That's just our culture. I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se. It's just an observation. The way we are, how we are now, how we're so close to our family. You know, there are pros and cons. In the Western society, people are very individualistic. You know, you leave your house at the age of 18. You rebel against your parents. At the age of 14, you start smoking weed at the age of 15. Don't get me wrong, there are Asian families who are like that as well, but the majority of our Vietnamese culture, people, they listen to their parents, they respect their parents. Their parents are always helicoptering above them. And so a lot of us, we lack a sense of agency in our own lives. We are indecisive and we are infant-like. Just an observation. But the main thing here is that you become aware of your upbringing and you try to make your own meaning in life and move forward in a meaningful way. That's what I think. There's nothing wrong with your family per se. It's just how you were brought up. What matters is how you make meaning of it and how you can move forward in a meaningful way, your own meaning. With that, I want to say, stay strong, God bless, I love you all, happy Sunday. If you can, spend time with your family, and I'll speak to you next time.